Ram Hare Hare. So, yesterday we started with chapter 24, and we were halfway through the pastime of Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri Dham. So, I will continue the pastime some other day because today I have to leave on time. Therefore, this. So we'll hear the pastime some other time. Let us continue with the reading. So chapter 24 talks with Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, why I was narrating the pastime was that he belonged to the Mayavad school of philosophy. And he was not just that, but he was the greatest logician of the time. And when he saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he felt that so this sannyasi will be a very good student. He's young, and it is very easy to get deviated at such a young age. One who has taken sannyas, who is so effulgent, who is so beautiful, and Maya is very strong. Therefore, let me teach Vedant philosophy to this sannyasi. And that is how this scene, that is how we come to this point, that he wanted to teach the Lord Vedant philosophy. Since the Bhattacharya was an elderly man, the age of Lord Chaitanya's father, he took compassion on the young sannyasi and requested him to learn the Vedanta Sutra from him. Otherwise, the Bhattacharya maintained it would be difficult. So he maintained means he was of this thinking, his thought was that it would be difficult for the youthful Lord Chaitanya to continue as a sannyasi. Sannyasi means one who is completely mind, body, words in every way away from from the opposite gender. Sannyasi means one who is completely absorbed in Krishna. So that is why the Bhattacharya, he thought that I should teach Vedant Sutra to this young sannyasi, taking compassion that if I don't teach him, if he doesn't understand the sutras, then it may be difficult for him to maintain his sannyas order. So when the Lord agreed, the Bhattacharya began to teach him in the temple of Jagannath. The Bhattacharya spoke to the Lord about the Vedanta Sutra continually for 7 days. And the Lord heard him without speaking a word. On the 8th day, the Bhattacharya said, "You have been hearing the Vedanta Sutra from me for the past week, but you have not asked any questions, nor have you indicated whether I am explaining it nicely. So I cannot tell whether you are understanding me or not." Sometimes at the end of the class, we ask, does anybody have questions? So either some devotees will raise their hands, yes, they have questions, or nobody will raise any hands. So when there are no hands raised, usually there is a doubt that did everybody understand what the topic was and what was explained, or was it that nobody understood it at all? So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya also had the same doubt that for 7 days I'm speaking continuously. This young sannyasi, he looks very intelligent. He looks very, very intelligent. And an intelligent student always asks a question. So this sannyasi has not asked anything and he's sitting with the complete the same expression on his face. Is he even able to understand it? Okay, maybe there are no questions, but at least he should have this comment or feedback, right? That, yeah, you are explaining it very nicely. I'm able to understand it. Not even that, nothing. So, therefore, he spoke to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said that you are hearing from me for the past entire week, but you have not asked any questions. And you have not even indicated that, yes, I'm explaining very nicely. So I'm unable to understand whether you are understanding or not. The Lord replied, I am a fool. I have no capacity to study the Vedanta Sutra. But since you asked me to hear you, I'm trying to listen. I'm simply listening to you. because you said that it is the duty of every sannyasi to hear the Vedanta Sutra. See, the Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that I have no capacity to study Vedanta Sutra, but because you asked me to hear and because you advised me. So Mahaprabhu is showing this etiquette that um, how to respect um, a senior, um, somebody who is senior, who is learned, but at the same time being honest. So here Mahaprabhu says that I'm simply listening to you. Listening means that, okay, I'm collecting the information. Hearing means to assimilate that data and to and to figure out how to apply it in the life. The practical application, that is hearing. When we hear means we are not simply putting data inside, goes in the brain and is stored in the brain, but it is not going to the heart. Hearing means it is going to the heart, and from there practical application has started. But so Mahaprabhu says, because you said it is the duty of every sannyasi to hear the Vedanta Sutra, but as far as your explanation is concerned, that I cannot understand. Thus, the Lord indicated that in the Mayavadi Sampradaya, there are many so-called sannyasis who, even though illiterate and unintelligent, hear the Vedanta Sutra from their spiritual master just as a matter of formality. Although they listen, they do not understand anything. As far as Lord Chaitanya was concerned, the reason he said that he did not understand the explanation of the Bhattacharya was not because it was too difficult for him to understand, but because he did not approve of the Mayavadi interpretation. I hope this part is clear. It is quite self-explanatory. When the Lord said that he was an uneducated fool and could not follow the expositions, the Bhattacharya replied, if you do not follow what I am saying, why don't you inquire? Now, when Mahaprabhu said that I cannot understand your explanation, so Bhattacharya, he did not understand the reason behind it, why Mahaprabhu is saying it. So Bhattacharya is asking, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya is asking that if you're not following, then why are you not asking? If you simply sit quietly, and why do you simply sit quietly? If there is a doubt, one must ask. If there is a doubt, what is the point keeping the doubt inside and sitting quietly? Because doubts are like demons. Now, this what I'm saying is from Srila Prabhupada. This is not what Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya told Mahaprabhu. But he's asking Mahaprabhu, why do you simply sit quietly? It appears that you do have something to say about my explanations. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is not unintelligent. He is very learned. He is very, very expert. So he noticed and he understood that there is something that is going on in Mahaprabhu's mind. There is something that Mahaprabhu is indicating, which is not exactly as one would interpret what he said. Mahaprabhu said, I cannot understand your explanation, but Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya understood that there must be something which he's trying to indicate or which he's trying to imply from this. So it appears that you do have something to say about my explanations. My dear sir, the Lord replied, as far as the Vedanta Sutra itself is concerned, I can understand the meaning quite well. The Vedanta Sutra itself, what is written in the scripture. As far as that is concerned, I can understand the meaning quite well. But I cannot understand your explanations. There is nothing difficult about understanding the meaning of the original aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. But the way you explain them obscures the real meaning. You do not elucidate the direct meaning, but imagine something and thus obscure the true meaning. I think that you have a particular doctrine you are trying to expound through the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. So Mahaprabhu here, he is um, now he is revealing that as far as the Vedanta Sutra itself is concerned, whatever is written by Srila Vyasadeva, all that is very easily understandable. It is not very difficult to understand because direct meaning is given. But when you are explaining, it seems like you are imagining something and then you are trying to say something, and therefore the true meanings are getting all hodgepodge. Therefore, I think there's a particular doctrine that you are trying to expound through the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra. That means there is something that you want to give to others through these through the Vedanta Sutra. You are not giving Vedanta Sutra. You are trying to give something else that is there, some other doctrine that you want to give to others through this through the aphorisms of Vedanta Sutra. But you are not giving Vedanta Sutra. According to the Muktika Upanishad, there are 108 Upanishads. Among these are the Isha Upanishad, Kena, Katha, Prashna, Mundak, Mandukya, Taittiriya, Aitareya, Chandogya, Brihad Aranyak, Brahma, Kaivalya, Jabal, Shvetashvatar, Hamsa, Arunye, Garbha, and Narayan Upanishad. In fact, if you read the purports of Srila Prabhupada, that Srila Prabhupada has given in explaining Srimad Bhagavatam and Sri Bhagavad Gita, and wherever Srila Prabhupada has given his purport, you will see that Srila Prabhupada refers to various Upanishads and various other references at different points of time. Therefore, we understand that Srila Prabhupada has the knowledge of all these Upanishads, and not just knowledge, but intricate to the minutest detail, that he knows exactly where to refer, which Upanishad, which verse, which word, everything. That is the level that Srila Prabhupada knows everything. And that shows that this is not something that an ordinary person can do. It is not possible for an ordinary person. So this is another quality which confirms that Srila Prabhupada is not an ordinary person. He is an empowered acharya. He's a pure devotee, undoubtedly. He is an associate of the Supreme Lord Krishna, undoubtedly, and he is an empowered acharya. The 108, because we see that Mahaprabhu is also giving the references, just like how Srila Prabhupada gives the explanations and references. The 108 Upanishads contain all the knowledge about the absolute truth. Sometimes people ask why Vaishnavas use 108 prayer beads for chanting the holy names. See, there is the answer is here. So if anyone comes across this question, then please make a note of this. Sometimes people ask why the Vaishnavas use 108 prayer beads for chanting the holy names. We think it is because there are 108 Upanishads containing full knowledge of the absolute truth. And why Srila Prabhupada is saying this? Because just above, Mahaprabhu has said the 108 Upanishads. Firstly, there are 108 Upanishads, and the 108 Upanishads contain all knowledge about the absolute truth. Therefore, on the other hand, some Vaishnav transcendentalists think that the 108 beads represent the 108 companions of Lord Krishna in his Ras dance. So some Vaishnavas, they say, I've also come across this, that Vaishnavas mention that the 108 beads in the Japa Mala, they are the 108 companions, the 108 gopis of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please forgive me, of Lord Krishna in his Ras dance. And Srila Prabhupada is saying that why 108? Another reason is because there are 108 Upanishads, and these 108 Upanishads contain the complete, full knowledge of the absolute truth. So that is the significance of this 108. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu protested against misinterpretations of the Upanishads, rejecting any explanation which did not give their direct meaning. The direct interpretation is called abhidha vritti, whereas the indirect interpretation is called lakshana vritti. The indirect interpretation serves no purpose. There is no use of it. There are four kinds of understanding. There is pratyaksha praman, direct understanding. Pratyaksha praman means if there is a small child, we take the child outside in the garden, and then there is a tree in front. So we point out to the tree and we show to the child, see, this is a tree. So the child looks at the tree and can make take the reference that, okay, this thing that looks like this is a tree. That is direct understanding or pratyaksha. Second is there is hypothetical understanding, anuman. Like the scientists say that maybe the dinosaurs lived so many years ago, and there were volcanoes, and because of the volcanoes, maybe the dinosaurs became extinct. So hypothetical understanding or anuman. Historical understanding, aitiha. Aitiha, that is historical understanding. Seeing from references in the past that this has happened for sure, and therefore we understand that this is happening. And understanding through sound, shabda praman. Shabda praman, understanding through sound. Of these four, the understanding from the Vedic scriptures, the sound representations of the absolute truth is the best method, Shabda Praman, because these, whatever is mentioned in the Vedic scriptures, they are all the sound representations. The great sages, the great munis, they have spoken about it, they have discussed it, and in those days, the memory was not like the Kali Yuga people. For example, even while speaking in the class, sometimes I lose track of what was I speaking. That is the condition in Kali Yuga. That even during the class, 15-minute class also, we forget what we spoke 2 seconds back. But in those days, the entire Srimad Bhagavatam was once spoken and everybody could memorize it as it is. As it is. That is Shabda Praman. And then just like Srila Sanatan Goswami, Mahaprabhu spoke to Srila Sanatan Goswami, gave him all the sutras, and then Srila Sanatan Goswami gave so many books, giving in details everything that Mahaprabhu explained. So that is Shabda Praman. So the sound representations of the absolute truth is the best method. Traditional Vedic students accept understanding through the through sound to be the best. That means the Guru speaks, the student hears and understands, not by themselves. That, okay, it is mentioned there is God, I cannot see God. That means God does not exist. Because Pratyaksha Praman I am not getting, therefore it is not true. Or Anuman, why did my ancestors ever mention that they have seen God? No, they did not mention. Hypothetical understanding, Anuman. No. So that is also not very perfect. Historical understanding, yes, Krishna was there. We see the through the scriptures. But the best method is when we hear Shabda Praman. The mother says that this is your father. Therefore, we know that, okay, this is the father. If we don't trust the mother, then we will never really understand who is the father. As a small child, that is Shabda Praman. And hearing from bona fide authority and accepting it as it is. So, we will pause here for today, and then again, Krishna willing, we'll continue reading tomorrow. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind association. Panchakalpatrubhyascha vipasindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री श्रीमद श्रील जय बता स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरि हरि बोल। श्री श्याम करुणा माता जी की